This video is going to demonstrate a scale-up map borrowed from a colleague named Steve Hodgins. It's a way of visualizing the way you're going to get from your big idea to your big impact and helping to communicate that to your colleagues and help to identify where are the risky points and where are the solid points within your plan. I'm going to do it with a particular product called dexamethasone. It's an antenatal steroid used to prevent death of neonates after preterm labor. Without going into the details of that, let me show you a little bit about how the actual scale-up map works. So we start on the right-hand side. Imagine that this is a single sheet of paper. You're going to start on the right-hand side with where you're trying to go. And in my particular case, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, this is a map for dexamethasone, and it's for a particular location. I won't specify a location in this particular video because the details don't matter so much right now. But I'm on the right-hand side, in terms of my impact, I'm going to say what I'm trying to do with this product is get it to more than 90% of moms who could benefit from it in a particular location by a particular date. Now that date is when I'm trying to get my impact out, and I'm going to put a timeline across the bottom. And let's say that that date that I'm trying to get my impact is at the end of 2013, December of 2013. Well, here we are at today. And what I'm going to try to do is map my path from my big impact all the way back to what I need to be doing on Monday morning. Now, in this particular video, we're not going to go through every detail, but you'll get the general gist of it. So I'm trying to get 90% usage of dexamethasone by the end of 2013. And I start thinking about, well, what would I have to do immediately before that in order to actually achieve my goal? Well, there's a few things I'm going to have to do. The first is to confirm that there's actually a supply of this drug where I want it to be used. The second might be to understand that a caregiver knows how to use it. So I'll call that caregiver knowledge. And the third is to make sure that the caregiver has a belief that it's actually useful. You could have knowledge without a belief that it's useful, or you could believe that it's useful and have no idea how to use it. So that might be what I'm doing a couple of months beforehand, but what I'm going to need to do ahead of time, as I think about confirming supply, is figuring out, well, how am I going to survey that data? So I might need some survey tools. So the survey tools are going to help me to figure out that I can confirm supply, get that knowledge, and make sure that there's actually belief among caregivers. In order to make my survey tools, I'm going to have to be figuring out how I'm going to get buy-in and perhaps funding from stakeholders who can help to make this happen. So this is the scale-up map I was actually working on with this. Of course, this is drastically simplified for the purpose of the video, but this is a scale-up map I was working with a couple of weeks ago. And one of the ways that I found out that the scale-up map is actually quite a useful tool is that when I showed this to a colleague, she said to me, look, these are great, but you're actually missing another driver of that impact you're trying to get to. And that is the caregiver must be able to identify the patients. And she showed me some photographs of the labor ward where she works in. And so what she basically showed me was, even if you have supply, knowledge, and belief, if you're in a labor ward that is so overcrowded that you can't identify who's actually in preterm labor and how you would actually, you can't identify them out of the crowd, none of this stuff matters. And so I began looking at my scale-up map to say, well, look, if this is the issue, to confirm that caregivers actually can ID patients, then I need to be thinking about what it's going to take to actually get to a place where, one, we know whether or not that identification is possible, or if it's currently not possible, part of this work stream is going to have to identify what it's going to take to organize the labor ward in such a way that the hemorrhage patients are in a certain place and the hypertension ward is a certain place, and that the preterm ward is in a certain place, so that the doctor actually knows who to be actually administering the drug to. So that gives a quick sense of what the scale-up map can do in terms of giving you a plan from left to right to figure out how you're going to get to your big audacious goal, and then also be a communication tool to work with your colleagues to vet whether or not you're actually adding in the right things, and to have them add in some pathways to scale that you didn't even think about. Thanks for watching.